So today we're going to take a look at NRG versus V1 because I think that NRG could be the next big surprise team in NA, similar to like the Guard, for instance, and could, do something like the Guard and qualify for the next tournament. And I say that for two reasons. One is that their coach follows me on Twitter, and so it's very clear that they are, run by people who know what they're doing and understand what's important. You can follow me on Twitter as well in the link in the description. But secondly, and perhaps more importantly, they beat everyone 2-0 on their run to qualify for the next stage. And obviously that means if you're beating everyone else on their map pick on your run, you're probably doing something right. And, they played against some decent teams as well, like V1. So let's take a look at Fracture here and how they managed to win this map. And really, I wanted to show Fracture because it has one of my all-time favorite rounds that I've seen in quite some time. So it starts with this one, though, round number 8. And you can see it actually did not start off well for NRG here. They're 6-1 down to start off, and they are on the attacking side here. And as you can see by their team comp, they are running the Optic comp with the KO and the Neon. So very interesting things there. V1 are running a more sort of normal stand comp with the Sage as perhaps the one kind of flex option in there, but very normal looking stuff from V1. So let's take a look at how this round goes. And it starts off with some A main pressure here, but what we're about to get is a boombot down here from Raze, and they're just going to destroy it, and then they're going to run back towards the B site. So they show some presence on A, they destroy the boombot there, so that kind of gives them some idea like, oh, someone's on A. But then, as you can see, they are just going to walk back to B, and then they're going to go for what I will call the default optic execute, and it's about to start now. So what is the default optic execute? Well, it's this. It looks like this. You get the smokes down, you get this neon wall down there through this side of B. You're going to get a KO nade down there. You're going to put the KO knife here. You're going to stun with the breach on like the right hand side of this neon wall. You're going to flash maybe this, maybe tower if you want, maybe this if you want with the breach, and you're just going to run in. And it's very difficult to stop because it's just very, coordinated, well timed, and in you go. You get neon stuns in there as well, as you can see. And so in they go. And they get the site because you just have so much utility going in there that you kind of have to just give up. And so that is exactly what happens. But now we get something quite interesting because we actually get a Brim ult here towards the side of the defender spawn. The reason that I think we get that Brim ult is because they're deciding to plant here, which is a bit of a risky plant spot and can very easily be spammed from this location. So that's why I think they're going for this Brim ult, because this is a very good plant spot, can be seen from down here on the stairs and whatnot. So it is quite handy. But I think that that's why we do get this Brim ult. But then we actually get a counter Brim ult towards the normal default plant spot, down here, in fact. And so actually they have to just move the spike over a bit and start planting again, but also the Brim here is going to get caught for NRG and die to Xander's Brim ult there. So we actually end up in a 5v4, but then what's going to happen is Som is going to get Xander back as soon as that smoke fades. And I really like here that they have this kind of like net setup, right? That if you were to run into this, like they can peek you from anywhere, right? Like they could just come out of the woodwork and just come out of all these different directions and cause a big problem for you. And I really like this little setup that they had there of this kind of wide net that you're just going to run into and then just get collapsed in from multiple sides. The problem is, though, that this chamber is relying on the fact that this trap will be able to cover anyone coming from here. And as we all know, on Fracture, these chamber traps are essentially useless. I say this every time we see a chamber on Fracture. It literally always happens. Because, again, this is a famous V1 play. They Sage Wall this chamber trap, and so Wardell is just going to walk down here and find himself a free chamber ready to kill. So this kind of always happens to chambers, and we're about to see the Jaws theme is playing as soon as Wardell did that Sage Wall. And for whatever reason, I don't know if Tex could have heard it, but maybe he was focusing on other things, and whatnot. But he actually gets a bit fortunate here, Tex, because luckily for him, they just started V1 to come out, and so the Rays actually, as I said, they have to look at all these different angles, and so he's not ready for Tex here on this one, and so Tex will die to the Sage, but luckily he's able to get a kill first. So he does manage to get the rate. And then obviously the problem comes that, the others start to retake as well, but now they're looking over there. You can see here that this chamber is about to die to Ethan as well, but he's looking down here. And so you can see that they just don't really know where to look. And it's a really effective little setup that NRG have going for them here. So we're going to see that Ethan's able to get this next kill. And now they end up in a 1v3, but they are going to misplay this 1v3. They know that Wardell has an op, and obviously Wardell is a god with an op. And so really here, like EU, there's no real reason to go and peek that. You know, his teammates aren't really in a position to peek. Like, he can just wait. There's really no reason to do anything. And the same is true here. They both go and peek, but as soon as Som gets slowed there from Wardell up there in tower, Ethan's going to continue to swing across here, but really as soon as that slow comes in, he just has to like wait as long as he can again and just not try and fight because unfortunately he does go out and fight, and so now Som is left in a difficult position, and luckily he's able to kind of jump most of the slow and is able to get that last kill. So a good start to the round, but did make some mistakes there at the end, you know, giving Wardell a bunch of 1v1s, but other than that, a nice round from NRG. And now let's come to round 10, and we're going to see a very fast early take of a main here. You can see we actually have the smoke down from the defensive side of the Brim, but what's going to happen is we're going to get this breach stun in here from the side of NRG, and as you can see, the Neon is just going to run past it with the stim beacon, then going to stun up in here with the Neon stuns as well, and they're going to take early A main control, but then they're actually going to come back towards the door side and come down here. So very fast A take. They're also going to pop the KO ult as well, so let's take a look at that. So there's that breach stun, there's the Neon stuns, in they go, they clear it out, and then in they come. But actually Penny is able to get this first kill. We get this KO Molly up in towards Nest as well, but Penny somehow is able to get the first kill and then run away, even though he's suppressed, doesn't have the teleport available to him. But actually we need to come to the top side, because Tex here actually is going to be, he's able to find the first one, but then he's going to be traded out. But the key play here is actually going to be made by Ethan, because Ethan's going to come and jump back up towards this dish side, and you can see that that chamber trap that was just there, just in this position here, was actually still being suppressed. There was just enough time for him to be able to sneak past it, so he's going to go back towards dish. So we get the spike down, and the two players here retreat back to A main, but actually Wardell has come all the way around to get his res off, because this is a very safe res, so they come all the way back and they're going to attack dish, and this is where Ethan becomes very important, because of course Effys has no idea that anyone would be here, and so Ethan is able to get the first kill, and then he's able to perfectly time this flash and just hide behind the rest of the dish there. Wardell gets flashed and he's able to get another kill, and then he gets very unlucky here because Celsius pops his ult and he almost suppresses him, which would end the ult, but it just doesn't go off in time, and so Celsius is able to get that last kill. But now we get this Brim Molly on the spike, as you can see, very powerful plant location if you have a main control, which they do, and so Hayes just spams into it and gets a kill, and then also that Molly is also going to get a kill as well, as the time is just dwindling down. So you can see that Xander tries to come into it there, but the Brim Molly gets that kill as well, and they end up winning the round. So a nice take overall, but I really, really love Ethan's play, because when you're in that situation, you know, which they were, a 3v5 at that point, you have to take a risk, you have to try and do something unexpected, and he did, and he got rewarded for that. And now let's come to round 12, and this one is one of my favorite rounds that I've seen in quite some time from any team, to be honest. And the reason that I love it so much is because it's going to look like the exact same things that Optic take that I talked about in the first round that we looked at. It's going to look the exact same, but they're going to do something very different, and that is what I love. And I really do think that this is the future of Valorant, where you have strats, and you have strats that look like those other strats, but actually are something very different so that you can catch people off guard. And NRG did it, and they did it beautifully. It was amazing. So as I said, they're going to group up towards this area by the stairs again, and they're going to do what looks like the exact same strat as the first round that we saw, the classic Optic strat, where you get this wall, you get this KO Molly's going to land in here, you get the breach stun in here, you're going to flash in, you get the smokes down, you've got the Brim Stimmy coming in as well. In they all go, right? It looks like the exact same. There is one difference though. And the one difference is the KO knife went off down here. Now, this is a really important difference, because if we come to the map, this KO, as you can see, the knife is there. Now, normally this knife comes in towards tower, but the thing is, the KO learns this Molly lineup from back here. So it's actually very easy for him to actually throw it underneath here and KO knife that, and that's obviously going to catch all of that middle part of sight, as you can see right there. And that is really important, because what they're about to do is not go for the sight like you normally would. They're going to attack the spawn, and it's absolutely beautiful, because as you can see here, they all start running towards the spawn, and we're gonna get this breach ult towards the spawn here. So they just pivot very quickly, and then all of a sudden this breach ult is going to come in, and they actually lose the first kill. Tex actually dies up here, but that doesn't matter because in they come. And look at them all sprinting around here. Som comes in, he's going to find the first kill. Look at these. They have no idea what's coming on, right? They catch people rotating here. They have no idea what's going to happen. And then even these two players here, I think, are a bit confused because you could see, you know, they spot them out, but then they don't stop fighting them. They just keep going. Then they brim ult this as well just to keep Zellsis back even further so that they can go and plant the spike. It was absolutely amazing, and I absolutely loved this round from NRG. Beautiful execution from it all the way, and then they set up this really nice crossfire to play off Ethan's contact. You know, so as soon as Ethan dies there, swing from multiple angles, there's no way you can win. Really, really, really nice round from NRG. One of the best rounds I've seen in some time. But now let's come to the other side and the defensive side for NRG, where they did pretty well. And this was, to be honest, I don't really know what to analyze. I didn't know what rounds to analyze for this defensive side because a lot of it was very chaotic. And so I just decided, well, let's just lean into that because V1 are quite a chaotic team. They love to kind of thrive in that chaos as an attacking side. But NRG just kind of shook their hand and said, sure, we'll play along as well. And so a lot of it was chaos. And I think this round is perhaps the best example of that, round number 17. And so we're actually going to see here from NRG is some early aggression down here. They're going to pop a little KO flash down here. They're going to get a neon stun down there. And they're going to just push through this smoke that you can see is already there. To try and stop them. They're just going to go for it. And actually on the other side of the map as well, they're going to get a bit aggressive as well. And they're actually going to find the first kill off the back of that. So there goes that aggression. But as you can see here, they do get a bit aggressive, double swing it. Quite nice. Tex is able to get the first kill. But the thing is, as I say, V1, they aren't one to be disheartened at all because they just keep coming. You know, they just don't stop. And so they're going to just continue with this kind of push here from the dish side, from the door as well with Effie's there as well, and so they didn't really stop. Tex is able to get the first kill, but the thing is, Effie's just, as I said, didn't stop, and so he's already come all the way around here as well, and he's able to get that kill, and now we end up in this really weird situation where it basically becomes who sees who first. It's a very, very odd situation because Hazed is able to get this kill here because he sees Effie's, but then Wardell drops out of the smoke and he sees him, and then Wardell's able to win this fight as well. So we end up in a 2v2, very, very weird. But the thing is, this whole time, and this again, we've seen this happen for Optic multiple times on this map as well, where this Neon is just able to get round here way quicker than you expect. And this round should have not been as chaotic as it was, because what should happen here is Wardell is planting in that spot, is Som just misses the shot. You know, it's like a pixel above his head. He just slightly misses the shot. And so we end up in this very weird situation where they kind of can't plant the spike because, you know, they don't know what to do. And so they kind of have to re-clear a main. So it's just and there's loads of time left as well, so it's a very odd spot for both teams to be in. But eventually what happens is Som's able to get a kill, but then Wardell trades back that kill. Then Wardell goes for the res. Now this is an interesting choice that they make here because there is time to go to either site, so it kind of is a game of chicken of like, which way are you going to go? But they actually decide to just commit back to A. There's more than enough time to run back to B, but Ethan guesses right. I don't know if he heard them, but he guesses right. And then because this is just a true chaos round, the wall drops just as they're coming out. And so Wardell dies. And then we end up in this 1v1. And so Ethan is going to be able to win out this round. You see him jiggle peeking there. He plays this very well. You know, he just kind of delays and stalls for as long as he can. And then eventually he finds the kill. Just an absolutely absurd round, and this was kind of a good, I think, example of what this defensive side was for NRG. It was a lot of chaos. But now let's come to the very next round, and it wasn't just full pure chaos because there were some nice retakes in there from NRG as well, and I saw a stat about how they are a very good retaking team. And so let's take a look at this round, and we're going to see V1's kind of version of their stair play here. They're going to breach ult down here, they're going to get the sage wall up here and just go in off the back of that. And so they've also going to pop the raise ult as well. So let's take a look at how that looks. So in they go, they smoke it off, in goes that breach ult, but we get some nice delay here from the side of NRG. We get the neon stuns, we get the aftershock, they have to deal with the chamber trap, and there you go, you actually get the stun, and you get the interesting little neon wall here down here that kind of, you know, suggests like, oh, we could still be down here, maybe, you know, like that's still a threat, and it gives them an easy avenue out, you know, in case anyone did want to push them here in town from there, you know, they'd have to run through that neon wall twice, which is, you know, perhaps something that you don't want to do. It actually allows the neon and the KO to group up as well, which I quite like. Now, we are going to get a little mistake here out of EU, and that is that he's peeking out here with a Spectre, and he knows that the Raze, sorry, has the ult, so there's no real need for him to do that. You know, we know that his two teammates are back here in tower, and they've kind of stuck together, and they're okay for now, and also the rotates are still quite far away. So, you know, he probably should just be playing a bit safer at this point, because he does die to the Raze ult, but actually Ethan is able to drop down from tower and trade it out. So, from this position, we then get a Brim ult onto the site, and that's kind of a bit of a reset. It doesn't actually stop the spike plant, because Effie's just goes into the corner here and plants in that corner instead, which isn't a great plant spot, but it's okay, I guess, and they still get the plant down. But that just gives them a little more time to just kind of reset and allow Som to just push up here as he does, because you can see, you know, now obviously no one can see him, and so he's able to kind of re-aggress from tower, and he knows now that no one can be close to him either. But the spike is still getting planted, so he probably knows as well exactly where that spike is going to be planted. So whilst that's going on, though, we're actually going to get Wardell pushing, but he runs into Tex at perhaps the worst moment and dies. And then, as I said, Som knows there's no one close to him because they didn't die to that Brim ult, and he knows where the plant must be because the spike just went down, so he's able to get the next kill as well. Really well played. Xander tries to trade for that, but Som is more than aware. They pop the KO ult as well. As you can see, that's going to catch Penny, who's now behind this, and he only had his chamber ult, so no real chance. And they get defuse the spike really nicely done by NRG. And eventually Penny realizes, oh yeah, I only have my chamber ult, so that's not going to be there next round. So he has to just run in and die as well. And now let's come to round number 23. And this one is a Tex round. And if you don't know, Tex has, you know, been catching a couple strays from some people in the Reddit community who maybe, you know, are questioning his place in the team. But this round, a very crucial round at 11-11, he's going to pop off on the chamber with the chamber ult and pretty much win them this crucial round. So let's take a look at it. And it starts with this. And I mean, let's just look at the map. He's actually been stunned by the breach. He's in a Brim smoke. And you can see there's a lot of people of V1 here, but he doesn't care because he has the chamber rendezvous set up. And so he's just going to go out. How he finds this first kill, I actually don't know if he actually saw anyone or if that's just a blind shot. Either way, he gets a kill. And whilst that's gone on, we have actually had a trade here. The door is opened. We've got one kill from NRG, but then the trade back. So we're in a 3v4 at this point. But then Wardell here, he's going to go a bit nuts at first and just start sprinting down here. But then he thinks better of it because he has a res, and so he's going to go res instead. We actually get the pop of the KO ult just to slow them down even more. And there's the res. We're in a 4v4. Now, when this res comes in, we're actually just going to, you know, hightail it to B instead. But we're going to see a couple things here. One is the importance of this KO and why KO is just really good, because we're going to get Zelsis getting that ult orb there for his ult. We're going to Sage Wall up here. He's ready to ult, but then the KO knife comes in, suppresses that ult. He can't use it anymore. And so that's going to run out the timer on that. So basically trading an ult for a KO knife. That's pretty good, isn't it? And then we're about to see here as V1 try and get this delay off so they can get the spike down. We're going to see an amazing little Brim molly from Hazed here. This one here that just bounces perfectly into that corner and forces Wardell. Wardell now has a problem because obviously he can't stay there, but he has to cross. But now they've popped this neon ult, and so that's going to really cause a problem for Wardell because he's going to get spammed and zapped down as that's going on. Whilst that's going on, this wall segment is actually broken, so Tex has been able to get a kill from down here onto Zelsis, as you can see there. But now Wardell is in a big problem because he can't cross across here because he's just going to get spammed. He's too low. He will always die there. So he has to just try and hide behind this box, which isn't a lot of cover, you know, at all. And he's in a lot of trouble. And so eventually he's going to feel that trouble coming in as he is getting spammed. He's going to eventually try and swing out, as you might have just seen there, for a brief second and die to Tex. And then what's going to happen is Som slides across. Xander actually from tower is going to try and swing out as well and try and trade that kill on Wardell. But Tex is going to find him as well. And then this last kill, well, Tex is actually going to miss this next shot. But they're able to get the trade eventually onto Penny and win this round and eventually go on and win the game as well. And I think that for NRG, you know, they are a team that I think has enough firepower and has shown quite a bit of improvement and looks like a good team. And as I said, you 2-0 everyone, you have a pretty good chance to go pretty far, I think. And so I think that they're a bit of a sleeper pick that could upset a few and do a bit better than many expect.